was going to continue to wage a war on crypto via enforcement actions. And they had nothing to lose by abandoning, the Democratic Party, and they made that decision. And then I think there was a, atmosphere of lawfare that caused, Trump to decide he would be benefited to ally with the crypto community. And so that alliance formed and got progressively stronger. And I think that changed the political landscape, not just in the US, but it changed it in the world, actually. It changed the course of human history. I think it changed the outcome of the election. Right? I think the crypto community support actually was a material force that tipped the election, in favor of the red sweep. And I think we got a red sweep in part because of the support of the digital assets community. So I think that there were really two possible futures, two timelines in March or February of the year, and one timeline, the blue timeline, is Bitcoin motors up as the one crypto asset that's embraced as a commodity by the cash flows in physical space, or it gives you a right to physical property, right? Define a digital currency, a token pegged one for one to a fiat currency backed by currency equivalents. Okay, great. Right. So you can see the taxonomy, you can see the legitimacy, and then you get to this issue of proportionality. It costs right now $10 million a year in compliance fees to actually issue a public security. If you want to raise $1 million once, how do you afford to pay $10 million a year for the insurance policy? How do I raise $100,000 when it costs me $40 million to go public? Right. So logic says it shouldn't cost more than 10 basis points a year to issue a security or a token or something. If I have $1 million thing, then certainly when it costs me 1% of the thing, when it costs me $10,000 a year, that's getting expensive to issue it. But at maybe $1,000, I could maybe handle a $1 million thing. So I think that those ideas, the digital assets framework, the idea of proportionality, legitimacy, taxonomy, that was not going anywhere in a split Congress, in a blue-red Congress. And that's not that different. Maybe a little bit faster up front. Maybe I'm leaning more toward the base case to the bull case than I was leaning from the base case toward the bear case. So yeah, I'm a bit more optimistic. But I think the big major sea change is you can see $500 trillion of conventional assets getting tokenized to become digital assets. I think the issue is, why wouldn't half of the equity in the world become digital equity? Like, why wouldn't you expect to see Apple stock, Google, Amazon stock trading on your iPhone and your Android phone as tokenized security? And I would think that the path is open for stablecoin, that to go from $150 billion to $1 trillion to $10 trillion. I mean, I at this point, you define a digital currency, you peg it to dollar equivalents. Yeah, there ought to be a regulatory environment where a company or a bank, especially in the US, can issue a US dollar-backed stablecoin. I think there's $10 trillion of demand for that. I think that we're going to go from $100 billion to a $10 trillion industry in stablecoins. We're just waiting for the framework for the digital currency. And as you know, I don't think of Bitcoin in DC. We think that's new. That's what he wrote 30 years ago before crypto even came into being. And that's what people thought in the early 30s. And so the point of this really is everybody's been beaten to submission to think that being a public company or raising capital in the public markets isn't for them. It's like, these are not the droids you're looking for. This is not for you, right? You've got the Stockholm syndrome. You're too small. You don't deserve it. You're just a musician. You're just an artist. You're just a podcaster. You're just a restaurant. You're just a single one city real estate developer. This is not for you. This is only megacorps with billions of dollars of assets can go public. Well, I think what the crypto community showed is you can spin up a token and, for $40 in 4 hours. And if you can do something a million times faster, a million times cheaper, a million times better, then don't you think if we want the civilization to move forward, we ought to establish an ethical framework? What I would say, 99% of the companies that start fail, and 99% of the, whatever, public companies have a hard time competing against the Magnificent Seven. Just like 99% of businesses eventually get shut down. But you know what? What percentage of the people die over 100 years? Like 99%? It's like we shouldn't stop people from living just because over 100-year time